Sunday, July 2nd, 2023. This morning I woke up and the first thought that was in my mind was all the glory goes to God. It was literally running like a record player in my head this morning. I get ego driven. I think other people do too. But I feel like this morning I woke up, I felt like somehow I needed to make a shift, letting everybody know that the glory is His. He gives us everything that we have, everything that we are. And that Creator is within us. And that gives us the ability to create whatever it is that we want in this world. We can wake up happy, we can wake up sad, we can get mad, we can be glorious. I have so many blessings to talk about this morning. So jumping back to, I know the last time I talked was about how this company was going to be started and how, where it came from and why I did it and how I chose the logo. Now I want to talk about how this whole thinking process, when you tap into your subconscious and you impress things upon your thoughts, things just start to shift in your world and in your life. And not only did I have that realization this morning, I think I have it over and over and over again throughout each piece of my journey. And that's what makes it so incredible, is that it's an ever going process. You don't just, stop evolving. So my son was out here, I think it was a few weeks ago, and he stayed for like a month and a half with me. And, we talked about who was supposed to be there for whom. And I think that the incredible thing is that someone isn't there for us. We're there for them, or they're here for us. It's like we were put into the same place at the same time for the right reasons that made it about us being there for each other. And I think that because we are all connected across the globe, across the world, that everything that I do in my thought process is going to shift and evolve others. And that's why it's so important to think about how you do things and why you do things, so that it doesn't affect someone else negatively and you can live your life with pride and happiness and joy. While he was here, we talked a lot about what he was going through in his world. And as we did that, and I helped him, or he helped me start to put together my list of thoughts for my 365-day motivational and thought-provoking calendar. It was, how do I want to say this? I look back and I was thinking to myself, when I was diagnosed with cancer in 2020, during my 50th birthday and COVID and all these crazy things were happening in my world at the same time, when I was asking myself, what do you need? How are you going to help yourself? And I decided that I needed someone to coach me every day. I needed someone to make sure that I was okay and think positive thoughts with me, and really just help me stay on the upper side of things so that it didn't drag me, because sometimes when things get you, they pull you down, and sometimes it's really hard to shift out. So I didn't want to get down to that low. What I did was I got online and I started looking at coaching, and lo and behold, there was this program that you could go through to become a life coach. Well, that's exactly what I did. I thought, okay, well, who better to be my own coach than me? Nobody knows me better. Nobody understands how I think better. I was like, okay, if you need a coach, be your own coach. So I went through that program to become a life coach, and it kept me reflecting on positive statements and how to build and how to be more and a growth instead of all the negative stuff that was happening. And I just kind of pushed all the negative stuff out and brought more of the positive stuff in, and it helped me get through a really tough time in my world. And so when my son was out here, Arthur, he was working on his music and he wanted to help me with my business. And so I let him help me organize my spreadsheet with all the 365-day thoughts for this positive thinking calendar. And while he was maybe down in his thoughts, him working on that and looking at it every day helped him shift. And he bought an entire book collection off of Amazon and had them sent here to the house, because that was the mindset that he was in, because that's what he was focusing his thoughts on. When you impress your thoughts on the things that are positive and are, surrounding you with light and God, it shifts you. It makes you feel better. And he bought all these really great short reads. My mom was here. She read one, and he read all 4 of them. And then I read one, and he left the rest of the set for me. And then there was this one really special book, though, that he bought. And he gave me a copy of it, and he has a copy of it. And we decided that every Sunday that we would go over the chapter that we read from the following week. So this week, I got up this morning, today's Sunday, I hadn't had time to even think about reading this book or going back to it. So this morning when I was like, all the glory go to God, and when I think about that, that statement, I think about my son, because he is truly driven in a path right now to be a leader and a teacher and spread the word of God. He's incredible at articulating it and communicating, and he has a great sharp mind where he's thinking about what he's saying as it's coming out of his mouth, and so that brought me to the fact that I wanted to get ready to have that conversation with him today. So I pulled out that Master Key System book by Charles Haanel. And this book was written in the 1800s originally. And so the text is written in a language that's, old, and it's not an easy read. You have to think about what he's saying, and really put your thoughts into it. And as I was reading, I was thinking, oh, well, these are all the things I already know. These are the things that I've studied for, 16 years. And in the beginning, I didn't really understand it. But now as I'm reading it, I'm actually skimming through it because I understand what he's talking about. Well, I know there's a huge pause here because I'm, trying to figure out how to articulate what I'm trying to think about here. But I think what I'm trying to say is that this book wasn't put into my hands by chance. I started thinking about this company and where we were gonna, how it was gonna come together and what it was supposed to be about. I remember, being enthralled with the Bob Proctor seminar and how, people, all the big names, they stand up in front of people and they tell people and explain to people how it works and why you want more of it in your life. And, it hits you at the right time because you're thinking about it. And so here I am, I'm thinking about this business. I'm thinking about what kind of system I can put together so that I can get the message out to more people about how, our creator, God, the universe, the whatever, whatever you want to call that higher being, how it's so connected with our inner thoughts and how the vibrations and the connections work, that you'll be in the right place at the right time. You'll have the right book handed to you. This I chose that antique key because it's followed me around so much, and same thing with the dragonfly, and so do these books that keep showing up in my world. Well, this one just happened to be the master key system, and I'm thinking, here I am calling my business Positivity Keys. Is there a reason that the Master Key System book is in my hand right now? Bob Proctor took his book and he carried it around for 60 years, and it had to have a rubber band around it because it was falling apart. And that was the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And he believed in what that author was talking about, and he believed that he wanted to, it blessed him so much in his life and so much in the way he looked and felt and acted and was, that, he wanted more people to feel that way. I think the doers and the thinkers, of this world, they're the ones who share. They're the ones who want to give and shout it from the rooftops. As a little girl, I went to multiple different churches. My parents were Baptist and Methodist, and they bounced back to Baptist. And, my dad called himself a Christian, and I grew up in, northwestern Pennsylvania, where a lot of people were religious. There was a lot of Catholic religion and a lot of Baptists, and I went to a Baptist school for 3 years when 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And so I had a lot of religion in my life growing up. And then in my 20s, I searched. I was, on that path of where is it coming from, and what does it all mean? And, I didn't really connect with any one particular religion. They all seem to have, some caveat in my brain, where I felt like, there were things that I believed, but then there were also things I just didn't believe. And I didn't feel a connection to an actual religion. I felt connected to everything on a really high vibrational level, to where I could be affected by who I was around, and felt like, I took on their energy. So I sort of, was in my 20s on a path of trying to figure out what to do with all of that and how to communicate better. So throughout my whole process, I feel like there's just been all these really, really great connections, and I've been trying to study all kinds of different religions over my lifetime, read all the books and read the Bible and things that other people were thinking, because I really am intrigued by how we're all connected, why we're all here, what this purpose is. And while I definitely don't have it all figured out, I do think that things happen like, Jack Canfield said in Chicken Soup for the Soul. You could visualize things. He put that $1 million check on his ceiling. So every night when he went to sleep, he would look at that check on the ceiling and go, okay, I don't know how it's going to happen, and I don't know why it's going to happen, and I don't know what I'm going to do with all of that, but I know it's going to happen. And every night he would see and visualize that it happened in his life. And then he said that he didn't realize that it was going to come in, the book format, and that he was going to sell enough books to make well surpassing that $1 million. But he was it was handed to him. He thought about it and thought about it and thought about it and thought what it felt like to be in that moment of having it actually there. And then it just appeared. It's not, it's not crazy. It's how we're connecting with the things that line up in the universe. So I'm going to continue on my path, and I'm going to read this Master Key System. I'm going to continue to put my podcasts out there and my blog and create my website. And I can't wait to see the calendar come to fruition, and hold that in my hands and know that that's going to be on at least 1,000 desks across the United States. That's super fun. Hey, thanks for listening today. I hope you make it a great day.